Ed Miliband, this isn't the result you wanted, is it? You didn't want to cut Britain out from the possibility of going to take some sort of action in Syria.
No, but I think given where we are and given what's happened, I think now Britain has to focus on what it can do for the people of Syria. And I think what we can do is use all of our status in the world to push forward political, diplomatic and humanitarian assistance to the people of Syria, and most particularly put the issue of Syria at the top of the G20 in Russia next week, because there is a real opportunity at the G20 with the eyes of the world rightly on Syria and rightly on the horrific scenes that we've seen, for David Cameron to say we've got to use the G20 to finally get the warring parties together, because we've been talking about this for month after month. And I think this is an opportunity to say to Russia, to all of the countries of the G20, we've now got to use this moment, we've got to use this opportunity to finally help the Syrian people and try and bring this conflict to an end.
So it sounds to me like you've just admitted that you got this wrong. You said yesterday you did not put yourself among those who ruled out intervention on principle, but your actions, your decisions, have helped get us exactly to that position. You must be sorry about that.
No, I don't accept that. We put forward in good faith a motion which said that if we were to engage in military conflict, there were certain criteria that would have to be met. And I think they're the criteria that the British people would apply.
But if you just followed the government motion, you would have ended up still having the possibility of being able to take action in Syria.
I thought the government motion wasn't the right approach, because the government motion didn't emphasise some really important points, which was that there needed to be evidence of President Assad's culpability for any chemical weapons attack. There needed to be a vote of the UN Security Council before any action was undertaken, and there needed to be an assessment of the regional consequences of any action. Now the thing is, Andy, what I wasn't willing to do is allow a rush into war, into conflict, the bypassing of the United Nations. Those are incredibly important principles for me. I think they're also important principles for the British people. We've got to learn the lessons of Iraq. Iraq happened under my party, when my party was in government. But I think all political leaders now must understand those lessons, and that's what we've sought to do.
Do you accept, though, that this morning President Assad will have woken up feeling just a little bit more comfortable with the world, is the way it's been put?
No, I don't accept that, because I think we can still put strong pressure
on
President Assad. I think we can deploy the diplomatic, political and humanitarian ways in which we can put pressure on President Assad, and indeed all the parties in Syria. And look, I just make this point to you. What we mustn't do, and what I'm glad we aren't going to do, is engage in ill-thought-through military action. Because if Britain had engaged in that and made the situation worse, not better, then rightly the Syrian people and the British people would not have been thanking us for it. So, you know, that was the approach we took. It was a calm and measured approach, and I think it was the right approach.
But it backfired, because it left you without being able to even have the possibility of taking action, military action in Syria.
Look, I've got to do what I think is the right thing for the country. And I was pursuing what I thought was the right approach for the country, what I think is the right approach for the country. Now, the Prime Minister has said he's ruling out military action. He's taken that off the table following the vote last night. I accept what he says, and now we've got to use all of our resources at our disposal to find other ways forward to help the people of Syria. And I believe we can, by the way. I believe we can do that, because putting this at the top of the G20, making it the focus of the world, is the right thing to do.
Final question, but now, if military action has to be taken, you've ensured that Britain will just sit back and say somebody else has to do the dirty work. Do you accept that?
No. What I've ensured is that Britain will not take military action on the basis that it is ill thought through, not properly considered, and bypassing the United Nations. And it is incredibly important as a country that we learn the lessons of our history, including Iraq. I was very happy to support military intervention when it came to Libya. It's something I supported. David Cameron and I stood shoulder to shoulder. But I think it's so important to understand where the British people are on this. Some people have been saying today, oh, the British people just want to withdraw from the world, they don't care about the rest of the world. I think that's nonsense. I think what the British people want us to do as a parliament, which is what we sought to do last night, is to say that any action we undertake will be done in the right way, not the wrong way.
Miliband, thanks very much.
Thank you.